All right, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to the showcase. So we have the rest of the units from the update. I already made a video on Aizen and Ulquiorra. I still need to get the last Extreme Boost unit, so my next video will be about those two. So we're gonna check out everybody else from the update. So we got Uryu Antithesis, Raijo Trukai, Sufan Explosive, and Shenji Flipped. So we have Avatar, Overlord, and Avatar. I have triple S on Shenji and apparently Solo Wrap Recovery. I didn't realize that was on him. But I don't have any pros left, so not a single one of them has enchant. So and I ran out of perfect stat cubes. So I at least did triple S in all their damage, but their range and SPA aren't maxed out, and they don't have their kills either. So yeah, so that's that. So we're gonna start off with Shinji. So we go ahead. Looks like we got a slash effect. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we got here. So we have exposed as his status effect. Afflicted enemies receive plus. Oh, well, it decided to disappear on me. Where is it at? Okay, so you receive plus 25% damage and plus 100% elemental damage for 15 seconds. Alright, let's start with the top. Every 33 seconds, you inflict one of the following to all enemies: 6-second walk back, 10-second stun, and an 18-second slow. And then after this passive has been activated 5 times, you unlock Upside Down. And then with Upside Down, every 99 seconds for 33 seconds, all enemies take plus 20% damage from all bleed type DLTs. Enemies under a bleed type DLT are inflicted with stun by Shinji Flip's attacks. He applies Shred and Exposed, which I just saw. And then all slow effects are 15% more powerful. And then we have Flower Protection. When an enemy under a slow or stun type effect is in Shenji Flip's range, this enemy cannot debuff or stun Shenji, so he can't be basically with all these. So damage dealt to this enemy is reflected to nearby enemies for 5% of his total damage. So he's a debuffer unit, basically. He has a lot of debuffs in his passives. Alright, so let's see. Only 600k to max out. That's not bad. We do two 18 mil on placement, 3.64 SPA. So let's go ahead. We got Destruction Energy Barrage. And he turns into a circle AoE. So it looks like he lunges at them, I think. Or no, he's shooting projectiles at them, little explosive balls. So we're at 87. Let's go to the next. Then we have Seto, which is probably, yep, a line AoE. Okay. I like the way he looks. Sorry, my tusk is kind of getting in the way. He looks really cool with his animations. Alrighty, then at max 200k. So we're at damage isn't the utmost, but it could probably be a little higher if I were to get glorious. But we're at 555 every 3.64 seconds. And then we have his ability Reversed Evil. Upon activation, you get plus 50% range, plus 20% range for all units in range. Every attack in range has a 10% chance to stun an ally for 2 seconds. Shenji is immune. When an ally is stunned in range, Shenji follows up that ally's next attack for 100% of their damage. Collapse is buffed with a 9-second walkback, 14-second stun, and 25-second slow. So we don't have much in his range, so it won't really do much, but we can at least get it for his passive. So now his range is up to 112. Yeah, he's literally just a debuffer. He doesn't really get any damage boosters. But yeah, overall, he's not terrible. Like, he can be stacked up with other people depending on what modes you used him in. You can see all his little countdowns. All right, so next let's do Soifon next. And let's place him back here. All right, so we have Soifon. Let's see, hybrid on placement, 193 mil every 5.62 seconds. And then Avatar as well, and she's 800k to max out. So let's see what we got. Whenever Soifon attacks an enemy afflicted with detonation, deal her damage plus the remaining detonation damage instantly. And after upgrade 8, she applies detonation on hit naturally. Relentless Assault. When an enemy enters 50% of Sufon's range, enemy walks backwards for 5 seconds. After 5 seconds, you apply Daze, which Daze, they take 20% more crit damage, have their movement speed reduced by 100% for 10 seconds. and a 55-second cooldown per enemy. And then it also only activates once per enemy. So it looks like, see, she just charges at them. Looks like what's her status effect. All right, let's see what we got here. So we got Mukyu Shunko, which is just, yep, her doing a barrage, line AoE. And then we got Piercing Hornet, which is now a circle AoE. And then now she applies detonation. So now that damage is bugged. She's doing like a lot more than that. Because she's dealing times two her damage. So she's dealing like, so just a times two alone, she's dealing 200 mil. And then plus another 0.5 damage in 3 ticks over 2 seconds. So 2.5 times total damage. So yeah, that little number is bugged. So now she so now she does detonation instantly. So instead of it doing its tick damage, it just does it. So then at max, she's doing 168 mil. So with the 2.5, she is doing she's doing 420 million damage with detonation. So in total, she's doing like 500, 580 mil. That's her total damage basically with Avatar. So now we have her ability, Jakuho Raikoben. Upon activation, deal times 50 current damage, inflict detonation, and unstable. And this nuke deals only 20% damage to bosses and mini bosses. So unstable causes 25% of units damage to be dealt to enemies in a 15 range radius upon an enemy's death. It's not really a great nuke, and it only does 20% damage to bosses and mini bosses, so we'll go ahead and use it. Yeah, there's nothing. So it looks like for her attack animation, she just shoots out. So yeah, not not the best. 168 mil every 4 seconds, plus this, like damage is just as about as much as Shinji's. So just not the best. Go ahead and put you over here. Alright, so next we got Raijo doing 2 mil on placement, 50% damage. I'm assuming it's from that. We have Overlord, and we're doing every 4 seconds, and he has more crit damage. So let's see what we got. Vor, every 150 seconds you switch modes. Mode 1 is Orochio, which is minus 25% SPA, plus 50% crit chance, plus 25% RNG. Oh, range. I was like, why is it range? Gains Orochio passive. Mode 2 is Hihio, plus 50% damage, plus 25% crit damage, and plus 10% range. Gains the Hihio passive. So right now, he's on Hihio, so this is so for Orokyo, we have every 5 attacks, you reduce your SPA by an additional 50%, plus 10% crit chance on every crit. Follow up with an extra hit that deals 50% of Raijo's Trukai damage. If this follow up crits, apply Rupture based on the 50% multiplier. That's not bad with the Rupture. And if he has Hihio, every 5 attacks, the next attack deals 2.5 times damage. That attack crits, do not apply crit damage and instead apply Dismantled. So based off of whatever his damage is at the time. Then we have Reconstruction. When stunned, cleanse, stun, and apply minus 50% damage. For the original stun duration, deal tick damage equal to 50% of Rigel Trukai's damage every second to enemies in range for the same duration. After the debuff ends, apply bleed based on the 50% damage value during Reconstruction. And then Rigel Trukai cannot be stunned again. After Reconstruction ends, 20-second local cooldown. So it just so when he gets stunned, it just gets rid of it. But he also loses 50% damage for the original stun duration instead. So he still gets to attack, but he just does a lot less damage. Not not the best. Not the best if we're being honest. Ooh, we're kind of losing over there, ain't gonna lie. Alright, let's hurry this up. So we got Monkey King Arm. Looks like he just slams at them. And then we got Snake Ton Smash. Full AoE. Oh, oh, those effects are crazy. Okay. And then last upgrade, we got his ability, Higa Zeko. Upon activation, Rigel stops attacking for 100 seconds. During this duration, deal tick damage equal to 50% of Rigel's damage stat every 2 seconds. If a tick crits, apply a bleed type DOT in order: bleed, hemorrhage, then mutilate, then dismantle, then rupture. Apply permanent cripple to all enemies in range. Enemies in range take 25% damage from Rigel permanently. So we'll go ahead and use that. Didn't really do much because their health is astronomical right now. But yeah, that is Raijo. So we're at 271 mil with Orochio. I think it'll switch in a second, like 20 seconds it should switch. So it should switch to Hihio passive in a second. It should also gain damage. So now he's at 407 mil. It's not bad. He's not great. I mean, it's only Overlord, but I don't think his damage output is really the best. Like, he can apply DOTs, but the DOTs aren't great either. Alright, I'm just telling you, your thing is kind of annoying. No lie. Alright, so now we got Uryu. So he's an air unit. Uh, got Avatar, and he has anti-magic, which you receive 10% more physical damage for 10 seconds. So he's 4.20 mil, 6.59 seconds. So we have first passive is grits. Every 75 seconds, you trap all enemies in 30% of this unit's range for 10 seconds. After 10 seconds, apply pressure to all trapped enemies. In pressure, they take 20% more damage, have their movement speed reduced by 33%. And then weapon rotation. Every 100 seconds, rotate weapons between sword and bow. While sword is equipped, you get plus 50% damage, plus 25% crit damage. And while bow is equipped, you get minus 20% SPA, which is what he has right now, plus 30% range, and plus 25% crit damage. All right, let's go ahead. We got light imprisonment, which everybody's over there, and I'm about to lose. All right, anyways, ignoring the fact I had to restart because I decided to do nightmare mode by accident. So, all right, on to finishing up Uryu. Let's go ahead, go back to, so we got his little effects. Then we got light imprisonment, which is another simple AoE. Ooh, I really like the effects. All right, let's keep it going. 335, 400. Then we got spiritual light beam. Okay, so he just shoots a massive arrow. I don't know if that's supposed to constantly be there, but I mean it's there. And last upgrade. For only being just Avatar, he's a 851 mil plus with his 50% damage. So while he's in sword mode. So without sword mode, he's only doing 567 mil. So if you were to get like Lich Glorious, and then plus with that, he'd be doing well over a bill. So, but let's look at his ability. Ability is Arrow Barrage. Upon activation, deal 3 trillion damage to the strongest enemy on the field. Once the enemy is hit with the nuke, enemies within 15% radius are dealt 1 trillion damage. It's not a bad nuke. That is a decent amount of damage. But in terms of like usability, I don't see him being like out there for like usage. Especially because since his damage can plummet depending on which mode he's in, can really have heavily matter in certain modes. Like out of all these units, I think I probably like Uryu a little better, only because he does a little more damage. But I do like Shinji. The Shinji's passives do work well as a debuffer. But let's go ahead. I mean, there's not really much I can do with this, so we'll just pop that. There we go. But yeah, all right, that is it for the showcase. Let me go finish getting the extreme boost. Um, and then we'll make a showcase on that. But that was all the new units, besides the extreme boosted ones. Personally speaking, I only really like Shinji and Uryu. I don't like Soifan and I don't like Raijo. But to each their own. I probably won't use them, but that'll be it. Uh, Let me go finish up my grind, and I'll see you on the next video.